In this full clear of the Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar, I will show you exactly why I think that Boomkin spec is borderline cheating. Stick around. Hello everyone, I'm Jairo. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're talking about Boomkin spec. I'm not a very proficient Boomkin. I will get all these disclaimers straight away out of the way and jump straight into this. Don't worry, it's not going to be a long rant. And you will see with the skips, with a couple of other things that were relatively unusual. I haven't done these things before. Boomkin did feel fantastic. Fantastic. So let's just jump straight into this. Let's do it. So yes, there we go, my friends. Zulu Bear got respect into a Boomkin. Take a look at this gorgeous bird model. Troll Druids Boomkins are arguably the best. Item level is 447. I have a pretty well leveled cloak, level rank 13. You saw my essences. You're welcome to pause. This is not a class guide, which is why I'm just quickly demonstrating this stuff and blitzing past it. As you can see, the gear is decent, but it's not specifically very much catered to be a boomkin. I just picked up a couple of trinkets with intellect on them. I picked up the 410 staff from the PvP vendor next to Alterac Valley as per my gearing guide that you're welcome to take a look at if you don't have a decent main hand. I was trying to do some mythics to get something better for the main hand or for the staff for my boomkin, but couldn't. So staff is probably my weak point. If you also noticed, I did not have any particular corruptions that would be of help. I don't even have a baby version of Twilight Devastation that some of my other classes, some of my other alts have, and even baby version of Twilight Devastation or some other corruption effect, Mind Flay, Infinite Stars, something like that, would make your life much, much, much easier. My goal here is going to be obviously to try and dot up as many mobs, rank them, rally them up kind of thing, and run around and basically try and AoE. I am eating goulash. I am going to be using the food buff here just to not worry about my self-sustain at all. And aside from that, needless to say, I'm not a very proficient boomkin, but I looked up a guide, changed my spec. I'm going to make it a little bit more convenient for me UI wise. You're welcome to see my UI guide that I published recently if you're interested in Dominoes add-on that I'm using here, by the way. Everything is very basic, everything is very minimalistic. That's how I run my characters. So this unproficient, not particularly proficient boomkin is going to tear up Orgrimmar. And yes, I understand that with my rank of cloak, one would say, well, you wouldn't expect any other result from a character geared like that. Sure, absolutely. But for me, as a person who doesn't play Boomkin, this was an experiment. It was a first attempt. It went really, really well. Obviously, I start here. That was a very, very bad short of Purification Protocol. I tried to kite them back into it, but it was already too late, so that could have been executed better. I am trying to make use of any of those promised power buffs on the ground, the swirlies that increase your damage by 25%. I snuck up to these two guards and got rid of them pretty quickly. I did not measure I did not have any particular timer, but it felt to me like I got them killed a lot faster than I did on my feral and on other alts, that's for sure. I'm in stealth. I'm skipping all of these mobs who I normally clear out. As you saw from my other videos, I usually clear out this whole area. I have to because people don't have stealth. This is the main element of cheating. I do think that this is an element of cheating. It's just, yes, it's a class ability, but usually you would think, and there was a lag spike there, which was really unpleasant. But stealth is a class ability. But say rogues are given stealth because they don't have some other stuff. Druids get stealth, heal, range, good DPS. What else? Everything else imaginable. That's why it feels borderline illegal. It's not the easiest class to play, not the easiest spec to play either, possibly, especially played well, and I'm not claiming that I'm doing it very well. But oh my god, even compared to the super king of mobility, Demon Hunter, who I play so fondly and speak of so fondly, this just feels like if I felt like pushing further towards 5 mask clear, honestly, guys, don't hold it against me, especially my regulars, but I honestly feel like gearing up and pushing on this character as opposed to my Demon Hunter, for example. Go figure. But that's how OP and that's how much closer to success this run made me feel. All right, so we run into the first difficult area. Can't remember if this one is lost or tainted, whichever, but the one of the two worst areas of a horrific vision. Rally these two guys up, throw every single dot on them that I can, and they're slowly dying in front of me. Yes, I heard you, my friend, who commented in on my one of my last videos that without nameplates, without specific add-on that would demonstrate like nameplates a bit better than these just bars, it's hard to play. I agree, but perhaps because I'm such a minimalist and because I'm not so spoiled with those kind of extra visuals on the nameplates, I kind of don't notice it as long as I can see health. I can see their health. I can see how much health is remaining. That's enough for me. So it doesn't bother me too much, but I am considering to use nameplates add-on at the moment. What else to say here? During the week when I was doing this in Orgrimmar, Leaden Feet was the debuff, and it's horrible. I hate Leaden Feet. I spoke about this. I understand being a druid, I probably could have shapeshifted into some other forms, and I don't know, maybe that shakes off the debuff. Maybe that would actually clear the debuff and allow me to move faster. But I chose to stay in the prehistoric chicken form that I adore it. I adore this form. It's fantastic. Okay. And now, especially that I got the taste for Boomkin, I swear, guys, I just feel like trying to get better at it. I love what I look like. I love what I can do. And I love this cheating element of it that I can still turn into a cat and disappear. Not like vanish, but like stealth and go, right? Now, take a look at this. I'm about to run again into the area of the mini boss, so the second mini boss of this area. And I think I'm going to pull both groups just because of how confident I feel at this stage. I have all imaginable talents. I'm reasonably geared. Cranial defibrillation hasn't gone off. I really feel like they are not, even with this health kind of dipping a bit towards the half of my health bar, as you can see. Even with that, I can honestly tell you at this point in time, didn't feel like panic. I felt fully in control. I really felt like, okay, it's cool. I could have even pulled that big dude, the Void Crazed Hulk, and probably not, my heart wouldn't have skipped a beat. I do have to emphasize, though, once again, that when you need to get out of dodge all the time, Leaden Feet is probably the worst debuff you can think of. I would take any debuff over this one. Like, this is probably one of the worst weeks to do this. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. What else to say about Boomkin? I'll talk a little bit about my rotation, which is not really a rotation. Again, like I said to you, not to spend too much time on this. I'm not a very proficient balance druid player, but I looked up a couple of guides, and from what I figured out, obviously I need to make the spec work for me. Some people do other kind of stuff, but I think I showed you my talents very briefly, and this was not intended as a class guide. So in essence, all I can say to you is that I am just trying to always keep Moonfire and Sunfire as debuffs on the target. I didn't take Stellar Flare. I didn't take the third debuff that I would need to then maintain. That seems a little bit too tiring for me, kind of stuff. You will see that I use the Starfall a lot more often than competitive DPS players would have recommended it to me to do that, because Star Surge, that is bound to my key number 5 right now on the action bar. Star Surge is known to do a lot more damage on targets when I pull less than 7 targets. At least that's what guides say right now, and I trust them. Me, however, I was thinking that it's not about competitive DPS, it's about doing as much damage to the area as possible. So I was simply casting Starfall, and then I was continuing with my normal single target rotation. I was basically just hoping for a compounding effect. Over here in Valley of Spirits, I have pulled the first two groups, not a problem. Again, on a cat, in cat form, I can't remember having issues here. But in this case, when I get a bit of a distance, when I can observe the enemies from a distance, it does feel a little more cheaty because of how easy it feels. Sometimes I throw my trends start tanking while I can still maintain the distance, and that the fact that I'm not right in the face of enemies, scratching them and dodging them and being right under their feet, and I think the fact that I can dot 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 starfall run around, it kind of makes me feel a little bit less involved and less in danger, if it makes sense. And I think that's partially why at the moment I am leaning towards thinking that, especially if I had a better main hand, better weapon, especially if I had some things like Twilight Devastation, oh my god, right? I would have tore the place up. Tore the place up. Gift of the Titans, as you can see, the icon of weak auras proccing periodically. Gift of the Titans is fantastic, and with Gift of the Titans, you may say, oh well, if I didn't do a full clear, it would have just felt like gimp to run, right? I understand Gift of the Titans does make things a lot easier, but on unfamiliar spec, you know, it is what it is. I still think it's a good result for me by my standards. What else to say? Some people prefer Typhoon as the crowd control effect, ability to push the enemies away. I prefer the mass entanglement that is now bound to my button number 4, simply because I know what to expect in Horrific Visions. I know how many enemies could there be, and if I needed to gain some distance from them and run a little bit away and heal myself, then mass entanglement would have allowed me to do it a lot easier. This is one of the few moments when I actually bothered to pick up a liquid that is restoring my sanity, which went okay. So in my case, it's a blue one. And as you can see by the Swift Mend that's bound to my button number 6, action bar button number 6, I'm using Restoration Affinity. Restoration Affinity is something that passively heals me all the time. I think, needless to say, that's fantastic, especially when you intend to take damage and you intend to run around and stuff. And yeah, I prefer that to Guardian Affinity for sure. Yeah, because yeah, here I ran a little bit close to this patrol. I was planning to skip it and take full advantage of the cheatiness of this spec, but looking at how much damage I can do instantly just by dotting everything up and continuing to just keep myself up or stay away, it literally wasn't a problem. Wasn't a problem at all. Now, in this area, again, I don't think there were many problems. I think I've messed up a tiny bit. I messed up a few pulls here. In fact, probably every pull could have used a little bit more of finesse, but that's also about me getting used to the spec a little bit here. But what I mean by that is that if you noticed from the very first area that I entered, I tried to single out the dominators, the little mobs, the ones that cast that long beam that stuns me for 4 seconds. I always try to single them out straight away and get rid of them straight away. In this case, you will see from the pool that I'm making, from the first dots that I'm placing, that I'm also trying to single them out in the group ahead. I know them very well. I know exactly where they are. But then, at least on this first pool that is about to happen here, see, I'm singling out the Dominator. I'm about to unload on him. But then I think somehow I switched target and I left him alone, letting him stun me. So I still got stunned, which really didn't have to happen. So if I was running, if it was a masks run, if it was masks, I probably could have used a little bit of finesse here and stayed out of dodge a little bit better. Oh, there is another blue liquid, which is fantastic. Always good to have a little bit of restoration of sanity, even though you can see I still run 3 orbs. Not a problem whatsoever, really wasn't an issue. Clearing out this area, clearing out the houses. I feel like we've been here so many times, guys. But the new spec, this is once again maybe slightly beside the point, but for my friends who are casual players and who are slightly bored, whatever, you may have even cleared Horrific Visions, but I can tell you, take it from me, take it as a friend, I encourage you to maybe watch my videos and maybe explore a little bit of specs yourself and find an alternative character for yourself. Yes, I'm promoting creation of an alt for you because honestly, that alone, finding a spec, not even necessarily a class, but finding a spec within a class that you haven't been playing too much with, such as Boomkin for me. I don't know, I used an example before, but I kind of never took it far enough. But let's say Survival Hunter. A lot of people like Survival Hunters. I thought that I'm going to play with Survival Hunter, but the spec just didn't gel with me very well. It felt a bit broken to me. Beside the point, but it's just an example of if you're bored, I highly recommend you trying to do the same content, same horrific visions that you would have done maybe on your main Demon Hunter, Rogue, whatever it is you are playing. But that alone could just create such a new kind of phase for you, I think. Yeah, don't you think? And so here again, it's pretty lame. I obviously wasn't paying attention or whatever. I don't know. I thought I was, but obviously I wasn't. And I let that really slow moving shadow that comes to me and stuns me, I let it come to me and stun me. And here finally I did the right thing and I ran behind the stump and I didn't let this whole barrage or torrent, void torrent hit me. I LOS'd the target, sent my trance. So these moments really feel like cheating because I'm behind an obstacle. He doesn't seem to be obstructed by the obstacle. For me, I can still hit him, but he cannot hit me. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Blizzard. Now take a look at this moment. This is important. And this is probably one of the cheatiest moments of this run. As promised to you, I've never done this before. I read about it on an MMO champion forum in a random thread. Somebody made a recommendation not to me but to someone else, and I was simply reading a thread and I was like, oh really, you could do that? And I decided to try it. I did try it, and you will see what I'm talking about in a second. It is basically a skip. It is a skip that works pretty well if you are running a food buff or if you're healing yourself. Pay attention to my health. I almost messed up. You turn straight left along the wall and then you hop, hop, hop along these rocks across the waterfall. But look how low, because you are in that shadowy area, so you take constant damage. Your health takes constant damage. I almost died here. Take a look. I barely made it out thanks to the food buff. I should have dotted myself up, hotted myself up, heals over time, yeah. And this way you go all the way back and you arrive at the area where Rexa is without having to deal with any of those other ads. It's a wonderful skip, which feels like cheating, but obviously it's just how the area is created. And I just took a lot of health damage. I took a lot of health damage, but I could do it. So you obviously can do it too, because I didn't even hot myself up. All I relied on was just my food buff. So that skip for this area, I think saves a metric ton of time. Metric ton. I can't wait to try it on my Demon Hunter because at the moment, even though I said to you earlier that I'm so excited that I think I'll be pushing with this guy, yeah, but I do think that Demon Hunter at the moment is more established character, better geared, wonderful, mature Twilight Devastation of Corruption level 75, like this crazy, right? I reckon I'm going to use this and try and see how much time it saves me. Over here, I have to say my life goes pretty low, and I think I could have shown a little bit of a finesse in movement in terms of I could have probably taken a lot less damage and dodged the shadowy things a lot better. But I just kind of pushed. And yes, again, I let my health go too low. I don't think I had to. I honestly don't think I had to. It's not like, oh, and I couldn't do anything. No, I honestly believe that in this case, I think I kind of messed up a bit. I brute forced it. I brute forced it a bit. I think I can do a lot better. And there we go. All areas are clear. We only have Thrall left. Only have Thrall left. And Thrall, yes, on four chests, he starts being a little more dangerous. And on masks, he starts being a pain. Let's just be clear. As you saw from my other runs, he starts being really, really a pain. But in this particular case, I'd say I can't recall, we're about to see it anyway, but I can't recall having any particular issues with him. So this is why, guys, while we're watching this final fight, I just offer you my final kind of thoughts. I love this look. I love the look of the character, and I love how Boomkin feels at the moment. And I don't even have a very specialized gear for the Boomkin. I think I'll get a better main hand, hopefully staff. I don't like one hand and something like a bag, like I'm walking around with a handbag. Don't like that look at all. Don't judge you if you do, but I don't like it. So I want to get a better main hand. I want to get recommended trinkets from the guide that I read. I want to get recommended trinkets as opposed to just trash with some intellect on it that I have. And I want to try to push maybe some masks on this guy. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed already, your support is much appreciated. Friendly club of alcoholics and horrific vision pushers. Can't wait to be in Shadowlands Alpha when the other phases come and they invite us. So please watch the ending of this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you in the next one in a couple of days' time. Thanks very much. Bye bye.